The 5th spring since our divorce. Julian and I met again in a tattoo studio. He was there to touch up his lover's name over his heart. I was there to cover the old scars on my wrist. Years had passed. We stared at each other, speechless. After a long silence, Julian opened his mouth to speak, but a small hand tugged at the hem of his shirt. "Daddy," a little boy said, looking at me with curiosity. "Who is she?" The island breeze stirred the wind chimes on the porch, shattering the prolonged quiet. "I'm a customer," I said. "Just like your dad. Here for a tattoo." The little boy tilted his head. "Do you know my daddy?" "Leo." Julian's voice was sharp. The boy pouted and fell silent. "No," I answered him anyway. "We're strangers." Julian's expression darkened. The owner tapped the counter, his gaze shifting between us. "Who's first?" Julian, who had been leaning against the bar, stood up straight. He looked at me, his eyes fixed. "She is." He was wearing a white linen shirt and silver gray trousers, the top buttons undone, revealing a well-defined chest. On his left breast, an English name was tattooed, partially obscured. I couldn't see it clearly, but I knew whose name it was. Even though, when we divorced, that name had yet to be etched over his heart. "First come, first served," I said, my tone polite but distant. "You were here first, sir. Please, go ahead." Before Julian could reply, his phone vibrated. I caught a glimpse of the screen. The caller ID read, "Wife." He killed the screen and his first instinct was to look at me. I turned and walked to a quiet booth in the lounge area. Behind me, I heard the little boy's excited voice. "Is that mommy calling?" Julian's voice was naturally cool, but when he was coaxing someone, he'd lower it to a warm, deep murmur that blended with the cello music playing in the studio. I stared down, stirring my coffee, when a child's voice piped up beside me. "Ma'am?" I turned. The little boy was leaning over the armrest, watching me. He was beautifully cherubic, with a refined, handsome air that was utterly charming. So charming that even knowing whose son he was, I couldn't bring myself to feel any animosity toward him. "I'll tell you a secret," he whispered, as if sharing something profound. "You look just like my mommy. She's a super famous movie star, you know. Then you must look a lot like her." The boy's eyes lit up. He seemed about to move closer, but a large hand gently pressed down on his head. Julian ruffled his hair. "Go wait in the car with Uncle Hanson." I raised an eyebrow and saw the middle-aged man who had been Julian's assistant for years standing behind him. Our eyes met. He looked shocked, with a hint of awkwardness. "Miss Sue." I gave a calm nod, my voice tinged with the wistful air of an old reunion. "Mr. Hanson." Julian scooped the boy into his arms. As he stood, a flash of silver caught my eye. It was the watch on his wrist, a Patek Philippe, a style he never would have chosen back then. On his long, elegant ring finger was a simple, unadorned band of understated luxury. In the 2 years of our marriage, Julian had never worn a wedding ring. True love was true love, I thought, taking a sip of coffee. Even after all these years, the passion hadn't faded. Mr. Hanson led the boy away, but Julian remained standing by my booth. "Clara," he said, his voice low. "How